So before we shut things down for the night, let's get a sneak peek of what we're going to be looking at for the next few videos. So this is our lab environment. And if I can find my mouse, there it is, found it, it's right here. Okay. So this is a domain member server that's running various services, one of them obviously SQL Server. We're going to hop over to Data Center 1. I don't know why I called it that, but this is actually a domain controller that's running Active Directory domain services, DNS and DHCP. The domain name, so this is a domain account that we're using. So this is stuff that you normally wouldn't. I normally wouldn't let you see this. These are all the internal subnets, and this is for our lab environment. Over here is for AWS. We are replicating both sites. We have two sites. One of them is Contoso Intranet. That is our local site. That's our local data center on site, hosted on premise behind our firewall. And the other is Contoso AWS, and that is a EC2 instance virtual machine running in Amazon Web Services. That is in its own private virtual network with a site-to-site VPN tunnel set up to allow traffic to communicate back and forth. So let's go ahead and see if we can communicate with it. So this is using this is the internal IP, and we also have a there's also a public IP, and you're probably going to see it as soon as I connect to it, unless I go in and edit the video out. The good news is I have this virtual network is all security services have been turned on, and the only traffic allowed to and from is essential protocols only that's used for this environment. So obviously LDAP, HTTPS, DNS, etc. I'm not going to go over each one, but various rules and protocols that are allowed, only allowed, to do what they need to do. We don't need to add anything extra because that kind of makes us vulnerable. Only what is essential for business needs. So let's go ahead and right click, and we will select remote desktop, and it took us right to login, so that's a good sign. That means it's working. If it wasn't working, it would say something like inaccessible. So here is the AWS DC. So if we show replication, it's obviously replicating. Very cool. And we can even open up the Windows Administrative Tools and go to Users and Computers. And we can also open up the sites and services, and we should be able to see the same thing that we just saw on DC1. Yep, very cool. So let's say we wanted to make a change. How do I get rid of... There we go. Okay. So let's say we wanted to create a new user. We'll just say okay. So there's the new staff member. Let's go ahead and hop back over on AWS DC. And we will go to Corp and then Users. And it's not there yet, so what we'll do is we will attempt to replicate. There it is. So usually you don't have to manually replicate. It will replicate automatically. This is a lab environment, so it's not going to be perfect, but it basically is, because it just did exactly what it needed to do. So I wish I could have the time to show you what it looks like on the AWS side of things, because that's really cool. We're going to do one with Azure on the next video, and that's even cooler. And AWS and Azure are kind of like the cloud computing heavyweights right now. I know I've mentioned this in other videos and done demos and videos about each platform, but if you're running Microsoft services in your environment, whether it be Active Directory on premises or Microsoft Office 365 SaaS for like Exchange and SharePoint and Teams, etc., then Azure is the very easy to integrate with those services, because they're all on one. It's one manufacturer, so you're standardizing on your systems. There's nothing wrong with going with AWS either, but Azure, I will say, is really come a long way, and I'll demonstrate that when we set up the virtual networks and the VPN gateways, and then connect it to our firewall. So we got some pretty cool stuff to look forward to. So that's it for the night. I hope this is informative, and if you have any ideas or suggestions or anything you'd like me to try in upcoming videos, please let me know. I know that some of you have had comments, and my sincere apologies on not being good at following up on those comments. I honestly didn't even know I was getting. I'm like, wow, cool, I got some comments. So I'll go through and answer some of those comments with a video specifically for answering those comments. I didn't get many, and the reason I didn't get many was probably because I didn't answer. So I deserved not many, but that's all right. We'll get those comments answered, and look forward to providing more material. And if this is something that is of interest to you, please let me know how I can help you, or how I can, if I can point you in the right direction. If you're in BOCES right now, learning how to use technology, or if you're getting ready for college, taking classes, or need a refresher, this is perfect. So I look forward to providing more content. And on that note, I am going to bed. So have a good night and have a wonderful week.